and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Well, good evening there, everybody. Welcome back once again to JJ's PC Build. You know it is JJ with you once again. Your first time here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video or live stream. Okay, gentlemen, and Dr. Blitz, I want to say good evening to you, and thank you as well for that awesome donation. And you put, what is NVIDIA's problem with, sorry, my eyeballs are a little kind of not working. What is NVIDIA's problem? Will there even be a 6090? Good question. Let me move my microphone over there so that way you guys can hear me better. That is a good question. It's still up in the air that there's going to be a Super Series. We don't know. But the only thing that NVIDIA is going to produce right now to the AIB partners is the GPU die itself. Okay, it's going to be up to the AIB partners to decide if they want VRAM chips on that or not. They're going to have to source it themselves. So there's a 50-50 chance we're going to see a Super Series, and there's a 50-50 chance we might not even see a 60 series. Because the rate this is going, it might be, some people are saying 6 to 8 months, because once these companies start losing money, they're not going to like it, their investors are not going to like it, and they're going to get slapped on the wrist, and they're going to be told, start producing. So, yeah. It's a 50-50 chance right now on everything that's going on, including the RAM chips and whatever else. And I know you guys are going to say my startup background music was changed. Yeah, it was a little bit. I just wanted to try something different today. So just let you know, I already know I changed the background music on the startup for the live stream. But as far... And hello there, MTBK. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Machine, I understand you're going to be late. I do see that. Not a problem, my friend. Not a problem. But end of the day, like I said, that's the reason why I'm having the live stream today. It's open discussion of what went through the week. And, you know, I got my cough drops because I'm having the coughs again. I got my cold and flu. Yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm here. And I'm still going. Even though that I'm not feeling well, I'm still here and I'm still going. That's not the point. Oh, and don't forget your drinking snacks, by the way, guys. You will need it. So, and looking into the glass ball of reality there, Mr. Blitz. Dr. Blitz, that is. I'm going to tell you, in the glass ball, for system RAM, it might calm down a little bit, 6 to 8 months. But when it comes to VRAM chips, the ones that they use for the graphics cards, I think they're going to make their key point to those more than they are the system chips. See, because the video RAM chips are the most important thing to them for the AI learning centers. So, I think there's going to be more of a focus there than it is system RAM. Why they went for system RAM first, who knows? Maybe because of the storage amount. Who knows? But if they're doing most of their AI learning and training on video cards, you would have thought that they would have been going for the system RAM first, or the VRAM first, not the system RAM. So you got VRAM, video RAM, and you got SRAM. You got system RAM, you got video RAM. So what's more key important is the video RAM over the system RAM. System RAM is very minimal used compared to the video RAM. Video RAM is more used when you're pushing high resolution or high hash rate or something like that. But when you're pushing a lot of numbers and computations through your for your video card, it handles better at high computation with the video card than it does the system RAM and the CPU itself. CPU is an instructional set. It's a standard set. Sends instructions to the GPU. GPU deciphers it and outputs whatever it needs to do. But it handles better than worse. Thank you on that, Dr. Blitz. Thank you on that. I try to choose the best ones that I can find from YouTube library. And I mean YouTube library, so this way they don't pinch, try to demonetize my videos. So I pick the best ones I can find on YouTube library. So that way we don't get copyrighted or pinched. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But there's just a lot of things cooking today, my friends. A lot of things cooking. You got Microsoft pulling their rabbit tricks with their updates. People are getting pissed off about it. You got motherboard manufacturers. They got a problem with the direct memory access and with, some of the anti-cheat for the games. You got that going on. You got the RAM shortage going on. There's just so much going on through the week. It's just insane. I mean, seriously insane. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to take and go to tell you what I'm going to do in a minute. Oh, it's hard to decide. Hard to decide. Oh, I forgot. Oh my God. I forgot to tell you guys. We're live streaming on Wi-Fi 7. This is insane. I forgot to hook up my internet cable. So I hope there's not no dropouts or anything. Let me know if there's any dropouts or anything, because I'm doing something differently. I'm doing something a little bit different. But we're going to go to the action screen and see what we can find. Oh, that's not what we wanted to find there, gentlemen. That's what we wanted to find. So, let's blow it up a little bit like a blow-up doll. No pun intended. Okay. So, let's see. The RTX 5060 Ti. 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. Rumored to be at risk of discontinuation due to the increase of VRAM. It wasn't the 5070 Ti. It was the 5060 Ti. So this says, NVIDIA may temporarily pause the supply production of RTX 5060 Ti and may only retain the 8GB variant instead. What do you all think about that? That's what I want to know. What do y'all think about that? That's kind of sick. Let's see. Hardwired isn't possible in your setup. Yeah, it is, Dr. Blitz. Believe it or not, I'm testing something. I'm testing the fact of, will Wi-Fi 7 be just as good as hardwired? That's what I wanted to find out, is if it's going to be good enough as hardwired that I can start using this beast and start linking it and start testing it with the capture card. I wanted to see if it was good enough for me to start doing it with the capture card. This is my first step to get this to where I can start testing it and get it on the road. So we're kind of testing things right now. Hopefully I'm not dropping out. That's what I want to find out. If I'm not dropping out through this whole session, then I know that Wi-Fi 7 on this new motherboard, this MSI Pro B850-P Wi-Fi motherboard, is doing good. This is a testing challenge for it. So let's get back to the news. The GeForce 5060 Ti 16GB is the only sensible option under $450 apart from the 9060 XT 16GB. So let that sink in for a minute. Under $450, a 16GB card. Where did I hear this before? Well, let's see. The 7800 XT at one time was running competitor with the 4070. It dropped as low as $430. Lower than the 60 series variant. So, let's think about that for a moment. That's a 7000 series card. And it was a competitor to the 4070. Now, the 5060 Ti 16GB is a good competitor. And so is the 9060 XT 16GB. But the 4070 always will prevail when you push ray tracing on it. It will make those cards cry. Except for the 5060, it ain't going to cry that much. But for it to keep up with the 4070, that's kind of... But, here's the good thing. Price point, if it's below $400, which at the time you could get both of these cards, well, the 9060 XT 16GB you could get below $400, and the 5060 Ti 16GB you can get it at like $430. So, but those times are done and gone. So a serious competitor with a price point of $150, maybe $160, $170, less than the 4070, they're not a bad deal. So keep that in mind. This is their little rumor sheet and, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we know about that rumor. Let's go back and see what else they got. Yeah, we know about Samsung. We know about the supply shortage of DRAM. Let's see what else. We all know about Battle Mage, the BMG-G31. We know about that. Enabling resizable bar for better gaming performance on NVIDIA GPUs. We all know about that. That's nothing new. Wow. There's not that much more information we can talk about, but if you guys got something you got on your mind, let me know. But yeah, let's go ahead and gander over to videocards.com. and see what they got cooking. And go to videocards.com. Let's see. Oh yeah, we already seen that one. A lot of people were talking about the G Assist. That they were talking about that the AI could play the games for you and stuff like that. So you guys can go and see the article at videocards.com, by the way. If you want to. If you want me to post it into the live chat, let me know. I'll post this, where I'm at. I'll just take and do this and copy it and let you guys see it for yourself where I'm at. There you go. I put it in live chat. What article I'm on. If you guys want to follow along with me, you can. I'm going to start doing that too. I just remembered I was going to start doing something and I kind of forgot to tell you guys I was going to do that. So, in the future, when we go to explore articles and stuff like that, in the live chat, I will be posting the link to the page where we're going to be going to, so you guys can follow along if you wish. And we can look together. So this way it'll make it easier for you to see it and hear me talk about it more in depth than me trying to show you the page on my screen and you're not seeing the full picture. So this is going to give you the full picture. So this says NVIDIA researchers and Mind Dojo collaborators have published Nitrogen. That's supposed to be a new thing. A vision to action model trained on 40,000 hours of gameplay video spanning 1,000 games. There are also releasing the dataset, evaluation suite, model ways, and codes. The key idea is turning public gameplay videos into labeled controller data. So, guys. Here's the thing. If they do that, and you look at the one-on-one personal shooter games and stuff like that, you're going to lose against a computer. Because it can see behind the scenes of what you can't see. I'm going to tell you that right now. It will see its opponent before you do. So having a computer play your game for you while you watch it is stupid, cheating. It's cheating. To me, I consider that cheating. They've already done this once before with the model set, and it could see the players before anything and knock off every player it could. So it's actually cheating. I'm kind of curious to see if AI can be taught to play some games. Well, they're already doing it there, MTBK. That's the whole idea of this article, of this story that we're talking about here today. Is that they're already doing that right here. They're already doing it here in the action. So they got the Universal Simulator, the Multi-Game Foundation Agent, and they got the Internet Scale Video Action Data Set right here. So they're claiming that on your screen you have your key, your right here, your controller, which shows that you're using the controller when you play the game, what buttons. You're training the AI data set to play on what buttons to play the game. Instead of training them on the actual device set, would be a different story. Oh, it looks like we got a call coming in from Mr. Machine here, and he just made it to the party. Hello, Mr. Machine.
Hello.
What are you doing, man?
Driving home.
You're driving home. I seen you had a truck. You had a truck that was late.
Yeah, no, it wasn't late. It was just people lazy. That's all.
Lazy people. Oh,
Yeah, so I had to pick up the slack just like usual
gotcha.
for people for people people that are half my age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, right now, what we're talking about is we're talking about the fact of AI being trained to play your games.
But I don't like the fact that the anti-cheats are going all the way into your BIOS. I think that's crap.
Oh, that's another thing too that we were talking about. Yeah, I mean,
I think that if they have that much access to your motherboard, I think that's a bad thing. I don't know much about it, but I don't like that. Maybe it's safe. I don't know, because they know if it's activated or not in your BIOS. And I'm like, how do they know what your BIOS is? Because they have access to it. So that means they can go into it whenever they feel like it.
I think you're right. I think the intrusion of inside your computer, inside your BIOS and everything else, that's not for them to, that's not for their permission to do that.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I leave the kernel protection on, is so that way it will refuse any program that's out there to dig deep into the BIOS for no apparent reason.
I mean, if cheating is that bad,
You need to get
you
another
should play
job.
the game. Yeah, just get another game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, I just don't like companies getting into my my hardware. It's already bad enough they're in my software.
If it's that bad where people are crying about the cheating, bro,
Yeah.
if it's really that bad about people crying about the cheating, then you guys need to play a different game other than crying about stupidity.
Yep. I concur.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't like that.
forcing
I don't like it.
forcing these companies to get them to dig into your computer to find out exactly what the fuck you're doing, you gotta be stupid. That's an invasion of privacy, motherfuckers.
Yep. Yeah, it's like
Don't you get it?
Valorant is doing it now. It's a free-to-play game. So I guess it's one of the if you agree to the terms of service.
I don't agree to shit.
To them getting into the. I'm just saying. So I'm just like, I don't want to play a game like that.
See, when you sign up for Steam, you sign to their terms of service. Why do I gotta do it a second time? Fuck that, man. I mean, if I'm gonna play a game,
for each
exactly.
developer, for each dev.
Yeah, exactly. That's about the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard in my whole life. That's the reason why I won't play Epic. I won't go to Epic's website. I turned around when I found out they were embedded, hardened my computer. I ripped it all out. Anything dealing with Epic games, I ripped it out because they were so deeply embedded into my computer that it affected my computer really bad. I mean, seriously bad. So I had to rip everything as a service. Hold on, I gotta give it a minute for this to reconnect. Yeah, it was the first dropout we just had, and that's the first dropout we just had.
Yeah, I've been listening to the whole show while I was pulling the truck.
Right. So I guess my plan for using the Wi-Fi failed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just hardwired in.
Well, it is hardwired. I just got to enable it.
Oh, okay. I haven't even tried my Wi-Fi on mine.
Yeah, I did, and it lasted for a whole, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to run both. And see if that picks up my speedy census.
People are driving like absolute morons.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's see, MTBKC is... Well, I'm kind of curious about the games, play some of the games. Yeah, we talked about that, and with AI, we know what's going to happen. Cheating in a competitive environment, yeah. Well, what about Japanese single-player role-play games? Good question.
Different. They don't go into, they don't ask for that stuff.
No, they don't.
Yeah, single-player games, I don't know of one that will ask for permission to get into your computer. They'll just ask for permission to watch what you're playing, to snapshot what hardware you have for what they so they can figure out what they need to do for the majority of their gamers. So if their hardware, if people are playing with lesser hardware, they can make it work for that better. So, there's no anti-cheat stuff.
Yeah, but that don't make sense neither, bro, because when you go to see, everything initializes through the kernel system, and it automatically tells their computer what game you're playing on. Why would they want you to snapshot something that's already being determined by their computer itself? And it makes no sense. Why are they prying into what you're running? That's none of their business. They can get the statistics from their computers. They don't need your information like that if they're not going to take and track you. Still, I wouldn't, if a game requires that much information and they need you to fork it over, I'll give them the middle finger again. There's no game in this world that's worth giving my computer information, which that will give a MAC address and everything to where they can crack it and put malware in it. Fuck that. You got to look at the implications to this.
So, for instance, PlayStation. So, for Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn, they're PlayStation properties. So, you have two options. You can do full access or you can do partial access in order to play the game. And partial access is just them being able to take screenshots of your game. And if you earn achievements, they can use those achievements. They can use it in their algorithms and stuff. But they don't actually take a hardware snapshot. Full access means they have full access to your hardware component.
Yeah, but they already have that. See, when you're connecting P2P, okay, it's, you guys say PvP. It's player versus player. You know,
right.
When you guys connect PVNVP, whatever, when you're connecting against the computer.
PvE, yeah.
Yeah. When you connect to their server, they already have a snapshot of your information right then and there because your system is requesting information and linking to their servers. So it gives the information, the platform, the packets, and everything that's going on about your computer that's connecting to their computer, so it can read the compatibility between your computer and their computer for a handshake. So why in the fuck do they really need your snapshot, which they don't need? Because it's already recorded into their database everything about your computer. Is that making sense?
I don't know. From what when I read about this, at least PlayStation-wise, what I read was PlayStation does this so they can have access, so if you upgrade at any particular moment, they know about your upgrade, and they can make sure that the patches that they send through for their games make sense for what you have, or what the majority of people have. So they're watching what people have for patch notes.
Makes no sense, man. I mean,
That's what I
okay. With PlayStation, that's a different story, okay?
Yeah, but it's like PlayStation properties on the PC.
Yeah, because there's restrictions that Sony put in there that
Correct.
They can read what the system is, but they can't read what's inside the system like they can the PC itself, the desktop PC, because desktop PC, if you give the control to the length of the BIOS of the motherboard, then they have control of everything in your PC to see what's going on. There's a difference, but when you don't give them that level of control, they don't know what's inside your PC except for the basic. It knows what operating system you're on, and it knows what kind of
CPU, motherboard, RAM.
you can
pretty much in memory.
You
storage.
can see the CPU, the GPU, the RAM, and the motherboard.
Yep, it knows what version of Windows you're on, and that's the permission I gave Sony. So I didn't give them full permission, so that's all they can look at.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they can look at, because anything further, if they know if they're digging into the fact of the controller chipsets, and they start putting in detail the controller chipsets and everything else that you're running on your motherboard, there's a problem. Because now they know they know the code for direct memory access. They know how to get in there, and they know how to see everybody's cheating or not. And they know how to do that through the secure boot and the TPM of the BIOS. Now, if they're into your TPM of your BIOS, that is a Microsoft secured prevention to keep malware out of your system. If they open that Pandora's box, your 9 out of 10 chances most likely to get malware onto your system, even through Steam, if you didn't know that. So if you want to play those or those competitive shooter games, and you give them permission to look through your computer like a dirty whore in heat, then you just opened up your whole life. You opened up your hard drives. You opened up everything, because TPM goes through everything of your system. Once you open up that Pandora's box, it cannot be closed. The only way that Pandora's box can be closed is if you get rid of the game and you turn around and all that money you spent was for nothing. And truthfully, you spend that kind of money to have an anti-cheat fuck with your system that hard, Could you imagine the amount of FPS you're losing because they're prying into your PC while you're playing your game? Look, I can care if you're cheating or not. That doesn't mean nothing. Okay, if they had a problem with people cheating, then they need to prove it. That's the problem. They sit there and say, oh, this person's cheating because they're using this and this and this. How do you know they're cheating? See, you can't prove it. And they're trying to do it through the TPM, and they're trying to search your hard drives, and I'm sorry. Anybody that looks through the hard drives of my PC is basically an invader into my PC. And that is punishable by law. Doesn't matter what country you're in. The law is the law. The international law is the law of the land.
It's been pretty much like breaking into your house.
Exactly. It's definitely breaking and entering in your own house.
Yeah. Because
you have personal information on your computer. You have banking information and everything else. For you to have a game break into your computer like that, and your computer is supposed to be like Fort Knox. And I'm sorry. I don't have heart for these developers that have these stupid ass games that intensive that they got to worry every 5 seconds about somebody cheating. They're about as stupid as a box of rocks.
Yeah, because
what did they get out of
AMD
this?
and stuff are they're developing drivers, so you have to do BIOS updates in order for the games to work.
Like I said, I'm not going through all that goddamn trouble just for a stupid ass game.
I mean, and how many people that own those games know how to do BIOS updates? Probably none.
No, probably about, I can tell you about 90% of the world. You got the 10% of the, the enthusiasts and stuff that know how to update the BIOS on your motherboard. But the rest of the world doesn't really know that much about it. And when they go to do it, then they run into the problem, oh, the power went out, and they bricked their motherboard and this and that. And, people are saying, oh, there's workarounds and stuff like that. Look, there's people that don't have that level of knowledge, and not saying that they don't, but they don't. So, in order to fix their problem, it's if you got to go that far and take and do a BIOS update just to make your game work, fuck that game. I'm sorry, YouTube, don't be mad at me with using the F word today. It's going to be used. So don't demonetize my video, my live stream, because of that. I'm telling you. There's some people in this world that do dumb things that make it worse for the community, and they got to deal with dumb things.
Yeah,
But
you weren't cussing at people. You were using it for the situation at hand.
Exactly.
So there's a difference.
Yeah.
You weren't disrespecting somebody. You were just saying, this is dumb. But
It is.
it's more direct.
It's stupid, man. I mean, when it comes down to the end of the day, I mean, are you going to go to the hospital because... Now, this is an example. Okay, let's say you got hemorrhoids. You go to the hospital and you say, okay, the nurse that's checking you in, hey, guess what? I got hemorrhoids. Can you fix them? And they look at you and laugh, say, hell no, and they tell you to go to Walmart, go get some Preparation H and have a smile and have a nice night and go home. That's basically, and they take all your personal information, and then they build the insurance companies $10,000 just for you sitting your ass there for 5 minutes and tell you to go home. That's what these game developers are doing. Is basically they saying you're going to play by my rules, or you can go and play somebody else's game. That's basically what they're saying. And by what they mean by their rules is if you don't give them access to your computer and all your personal information and everything else, you're not going to play their game.
There's juice.
Do you think that's right, Mr. Machine? I don't think it's right.
Camera recording.
Well, I don't know. I just,
No, I
I
mean,
don't think we should do a BIOS updates to play video games. Or
Yeah.
to play a video game. That just doesn't make any sense.
oh, and I,
Specialized BIOS update
yeah.
for an anti-cheat. Like, I've never heard of that before.
Well, it comes back to the direct memory access. That's the whole thing they were talking about, was that there was a problem with the direct memory access. Why would there be a problem with the DMA when it's hardware related and not software related?
Yeah,
See,
I guess
this-
people are cheating with hardware.
How are you going to cheat with your hardware?
I don't know.
The software is where it is. That's where the magic happens. Not the fucking hardware. The hardware is your baseline. Is your
I don't know
base
that.
native? No, I'm gonna make you understand this. The hardware is your native baseline. Basically, it puts together the computation of what needs to work. So basically, when you put the pieces together, like a jigsaw puzzle, okay, and you put it all together, it takes the software to make the magic of the hardware happen. So in order for the hardware to work, it needs the software. And where the direct memory access comes from is the software, not the hardware. It's just Microsoft locked up the direct memory access software, and when it loads onto Windows, you know, when it goes from when you push the power button on your computer and it starts up, it goes through the checks through the BIOS, and then it automatically loads the Windows software, including the direct memory access and everything. So in order for that to happen, that's a Microsoft issue. That's not a hard BIOS issue. Now, by doing a BIOS update is redirecting the direct memory access and enabling a new set of data set onto the instruction set to Windows. That's all it's doing. So basically, they're giving your computer a new instruction set through the BIOS when you start it up every time. Now remember, with the BIOS update, and you put that in, you are locked in. You cannot get it out of your system. The only way that'll happen, and you want that out of your system, is you need to buy a new motherboard. There's no way of taking that out whatsoever, unless you know a technician that's a programmer, an IT technician, that can take the chip off the motherboard, reprogram it back to the date of the motherboard when it was first manufactured and tested, and to push that BIOS all the way back to day one. That's the only way you're going to get that shit out of your motherboard.
Alright, so I looked up something.
Yeah.
So the anti-cheat BIOS update is a recent security measure primarily driven by Riot Games Vanguard for Valorant, addressing the UEFI firmware flaw that allows hardware cheats to bypass memory protections during a pre-boot phase, affecting major motherboard brands like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock.
Yeah.
This update will enforces features like Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 and patches direct memory access and vulnerabilities. It is now required for certain players to play, locking out the system with unpatched firmware to close a major loophole for cheats and raise the cost of unfair play.
I already looked today. There's no BIOS update.
Okay.
On our motherboard, see, because we got the 800 series motherboards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already looked today when this all went down and to see if we got a BIOS update, because my motherboard is updated to the latest BIOS. And so is yours, because I know that. So, for us to have that new BIOS update for the direct memory access is nil to none. We're not going to see that because the DMA on our motherboards are just fine. There's no problem with the direct memory access, any leaks or any memory leaks or anything else. I've already tested for this. I have no memory leaks on my PC. So they're coming up with shit, they're making up shit just to stick shit in. You get it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this.
Bro, they're just
And
injecting a code in so they have the control of your PC to see what you're doing. They're basically, it's like what do you call it? The VLC viewer, where you can share your screen and they can go into your PC manually. This is the same shit.
Yeah.
To where
they're expecting more games to do this, by the way.
Yeah, they're doing this so they can pry into your business, and they can go behind the scenes and see the codes, and basically they can put new images out on their PC of what you're doing. So basically, it's like what Microsoft was doing was Microsoft Recall. Basically, the snapshots that are going on inside your hard drive of what you're doing, snapshot by snapshot, they can see that. They can see everything you're doing on your screen by snapshot by snapshot.
So, okay, so it says the BIOS exploits means the Vanguard is going to be enforcing these BIOS requirements on every single player of its games. For now, it will just apply to restricted players with Valorant whose systems, for one reason or another, are too similar to cheaters who get around security features in order to become undetectable to Vanguard. So, so this BIOS update is only going to go to the systems and motherboards that cheaters are using.
Yeah, but how can you make that determination?
Because they know what the cheaters are using, evidently.
That comes back to the same goddamn thing. That they injected a code into your PC in order for them to have full control inside of your PC.
Uh-oh.
That's next up.
It says that the 500 series motherboard chipsets and earlier most likely will not get this patch.
No, I know this. Yeah, AM4 will not get this patch.
Out of if they do this to the masses, they're going to lose everybody, because most people that play those games don't have the best of the best equipment, and it's a free game.
Yeah, well, they're going to be on AM4 then. I can tell you that. They just made they just made AMD rich. They just made Intel rich with the Raptor Lake series, because that's where the people are going to be, is on DDR4.
All right, so MSI only lists the 600 and 700 series chipsets. Intel boards on the 500, 600, 700, 800 series chipsets.
No, they listed.
Is also missing the 800 series, but says the vulnerability affects boards based on even older 400 series Intel chipsets. Gigabyte will cover 600 through 800 series Intel chipsets. AMD, but also with the vendor mentioned patches for AMD 600 and 800 series chipsets, and any motherboard with an AM5 socket, in short.
Yeah. It's every motherboard that's on the
It's every,
AM5.
it's every, Mhm.
Yeah, we know that. AM4's it's not affected because they can't get into the DMA of AM4. It's impossible. The motherboard manufacturers lock down the direct memory access in AM4. So it's virtually impossible. Even if you try to use a BIOS spoofer, you still can't get into it. They embedded and locked it. So basically it means every update you do for the BIOS is locked. It cannot be changed. And it can't be rolled back neither. Even if you try to use a machine to roll it back, it's impossible because there's another little provision on the motherboards in AM4 that people don't know too much about, is considered as like a BIOS backup. So basically once your BIOS is snapshot and the hardware is updated for the BIOS version, you're locked in permanent.
Yeah, it says, practically speaking, this may not be an issue that affects many people. Even if the BIOS requirement is applied to all of its top-tier Valorant players, people playing these games at high levels are also usually people who upgrade their systems aggressively, seeking real and perceived competitive advantages that some with higher frame rates and less lag. But if these kinds of requirements creep down Valorant's competition ladder, or if they become a more common requirement than the other anti-cheat software, it could pose a problem for those with older or hand-me-down PCs that don't have BIOS updates.
Yeah, like
And then they're locked
HP
out
and
forever.
Dell and Lenovo
Yeah, they're going to be
and
locked out and they can't play the game
Acer.
anymore. Yep.
The BIOSes are locked out. That's why.
Mhm.
There's no upgradable BIOSes when it comes with those companies.
Yeah, but they're saying with issues with the pricing of GPUs and RAM and shortages and everything, they said people being able to upgrade their systems to play games is going to be not happening.
Yeah.
So they're going to kick themselves in the butt.
Well, that's the reason why they're only making these BIOS updates specific to the motherboards that they found out that are having the problems.
Yeah, that people are cheating on.
Yeah. So if they lock that out, that's fine. But with your that's not really reflecting all of AM5.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I'm pretty sure the cheaters are using like X3D chips and stuff that they can really.
Yeah, they're cheating off the 600 series motherboards.
Yeah.
That's your hotspot. See, now they're using the X670E motherboards is because those are high competitive motherboards compared to the X870E,
Mm-hmm.
which they don't realize that the X870E is faster than the X670E.
This will be interesting to see how this goes. I don't think we're going to see it on the V850, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but also too, AMD is going to discontinue the 600 series motherboards anyway.
Yep.
So
they'll go to the X870.
Right.
Yeah.
And those BIOSes are locked. So there's no DMA problem. There was never a DMA problem. The problem is that they found a code in the exploits that they're using to bypass the provisions for the games.
Yeah, kernel level anti-cheat software.
Right, because the BIOS starts where it starts the magic. That's where all the
Because
magic happens.
It turns the anti-cheat on when you start your computer up. So if you have any programs that are designed to cheat, it'll automatically
Disable it.
disable them. Yeah, turn them off.
Yeah,
And then you
and
can't turn
then
them
they
on.
would not know because basically it would show that it's on, but it actually it's off. It would misreport because basically it would be stuck in between two realms. Basically, the handshake where it says it's on and where it's off. That's where the BIOS detection comes in. because the code that's they inject into the BIOS to when Windows starts, it automatically starts the anti-cheat, which means it's running on your system even if the game is off.
Yep. It says
that's bad.
The bug affects the input-output memory management unit.
Yes.
That's where they go to get the cheat in.
Yeah, it's the IO.
And that's where they fix it with the new update.
But
so
still, it's running in the services.
Yep.
In the background. You can't see the service, but it's in the service behind the service. So basically, they're monitoring inside of your PC through a portal that's linked from your PC to theirs. So even if you're not playing the game, they still have that link.
Yep, because your computer's on.
Exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's why I will never, ever, ever do that and never put a BIOS update just for that stupidity ever in my PC. They can keep their game, shove it up their rear where the sun don't shine, because that game for $70 is not worth my time to play.
Some of them are free. Like Battlefield, not Battlefield 6. I don't know if they've got it, but Modern Warfare 7 does.
They're doing it. They're doing it to the Battlefields. They're doing it to most of the other games. But
there's lots of other games to play.
Hogwarts Legacy, they didn't do that to, and Cyberpunk, they didn't do that to. I didn't see it.
They're all single player, so yeah.
Single player games, I'm okay with. If I want to play a multiplayer game, then I'll take everybody over to Second Life, and that's multiplayer, that's live, and they don't require an anti-cheat for you to play that, because that's an adult game, not a child game. So if y'all want to play child games, that's one thing. But when you want to be an adult, you go where the adults go, because that's where the adult room is, not where the child room is. It's an adult room. So, if you know what I mean. All these little games that are on Steam and stuff, that it's kind of fun for the benchmarking and all that. You do benchmarks and playing the game and having fun, that's fine. But when you got to go to that level, to block people on a cheat, it's time you need to give up making games. It's just the time you need to give up, period. Because it's basically like this. In the world, you're not going to stop a hacker from hacking into your PC. They're going to find a way. Sooner or later, they're going to get in there and they're going to take and trash your system. Regardless. It's just like people, trying to cheat on games. What's the purpose? Is there money involved? What's involved? What is it involved with the developers? What does it have to do anything with the developers? Has nothing to do with the developers. Is because not unless they get their money into that cookie jar, that where they're making money from the competitive one-on-one shooters. That would be the only way that you can say, hey, well, they got their investment into that. But why gamble on somebody's game? Is that game that important for you to gamble with? Is it like watching the football sports and you betting on a team that's a winning or losing team? Are you betting, these developers betting on these gamers to win the game? Are they taking bets on this, or what? What is their involvement? Is what I want to know, Machine. What is their involvement in this? To put an anti-cheat on a game. What is their involvement? Who is pressuring them for this involvement? They're not giving us the details. There's something that's missing from this whole equation.
Yeah.
Is they're not telling everybody everything. Why are they putting anti-cheats on? Why? What do they get out of this? You can't tell me it's exposure. Because if somebody's cheating, the community's going to take and put it out there on Front Street, and they're going to tell everybody, hey, this guy's a cheater, and they're going to label him. So what is the involvement with the developers? What purpose are they serving by putting an anti-cheat on their games? When you got the whole community that'll call somebody out if they're cheating. That's how it works. Are you trying to avoid something through the community? Or are you trying to avoid the fact of that they say, well, you can cheat on your game, that they can get away with anything kind of thing? It's a he said, she said crap. It's something you can't prove. No matter, even if you're in their computer, you still can't prove it. Because they could be having a program that wipes out their keystrokes. So you can't see what they're keying in. There are provisions they can make to make their system invisible to your eyeballs without you even knowing it. So this anti-cheat shit doesn't work. It never will work, and it's nothing but an eyesore and a headache to the community. So these developers need to stop the shit and just build the games, sell them, and be happy. What, are they afraid their bottom line is going to be affected? No, your bottom line's not going to be affected. People are going to buy your game, they're going to see it's good, and they're going to want to get in there. Now, as far as the one-on-one kind of thing, you can't stop the cheating. No matter how hard you're going to try, it's going to fail every time. Machine, you know this and as well as I do. And, you know, with you playing...
Another way around it. Yep.
What, you playing Arc Raiders, what are the people doing? They're going in there and killing people other than NPCs. So they're killing the players of the game because they're doing it. Why? Think about this hard machine. Why are they going after the players? Think about this
Because
very
they're weak.
hard.
They're weak people. That's why.
No, because they're not a computer. That's why. Is because these people can't play against the computer and win. Is because the computer is competitive and basically knows your moves. It studies your moves after the first week. So it knows your moves. So that's the reason why after a week you can't play against the computer. So what do? You go after the players. And so you minimize the list of players down to what, the ones that can kill everybody, and you know, the ones that are just as fast as the machines that are going out there killing. So basically you're bottling everybody up into one group is what you're doing. So your crowd is 1 to 5% of the professional shooters. 1 to 5%. The ones that are running the high-end cards are going to be your most competitive shooters. The ones that can afford 5090s, 4090s are the ones that are going to be your competitive. 20% of them. That breaks it down into the 5% that buy the cards. So in that 5%, you have a little 20% of that 5% that actually use those cards to competitive shoot people one-on-one. So no matter which way you look at it, it comes down to the matters of seconds of delay that's on your PC. And when those competitive shooters build their PC, they get the delay down to milliseconds. That's how much they tune their system to get everything down to milliseconds. Now with your regular shooters out there that have regular computers, they're stuck in between 1 and 5 milliseconds. Some are stuck in between 12 and 20 milliseconds of latency. You see the difference, right, Machine?
Yeah.
So when you got 10 to 20 seconds of latency compared to the shooters out there that have milliseconds of latency on their PC, who do you think's going to win?
Well, yeah, the one that can get shot off first.
Yeah, the ones that have the least latency on their PC are the ones that are going to win. Because they can see your move before you see your move.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not cheating. That is actually tuning your system to be that competitive. That's not cheating. The latency on your system compared to their system, that's what they're banking on. Is because as you start your moves, they can see that before you do. Because you're just slowly moving your mouse. And that latency is just dragging along. And that every millisecond of latency that you're having on your PC is just dragging. And they can see that, and they can come up and boom, take you out. Within a matter of 3 milliseconds, they can take you out. Because their latency is much lower than yours, and the speed of their system is much higher than yours. So they paid for it. They paid $5,000 to $7,000 to $8,000 for their system to be that competitive against yours that you paid $1,000. So maybe less. So don't feel butthurt that they have a faster system than you. But now that you got to put anti-cheat and everything else in there, that's including the latency that's coming from their anti-cheat. So they're trying to balance the game between the latencies between other computers and make the latency the same. That's what they're trying to do. Is it working? Who knows? We'll find out though, for sure. Off topic, should I get a faster car or a performance truck? Well, it all depends on your use, man. All depends on what you want to use it for. Now, if you want a performance truck, are you going off-roading or something? Or is that a part of your pastime that you like to do? Or you want a race car, so you want something to go fast? That's basically like your PC. You either want to go fast or you want better visualization. So you got better performance, better visualization. Two key factors in a PC. Some people, they don't care about the visualization, they just want the performance. They just want the FPS. Frames per second, that's what they want. Some people want the visualization. They don't care about the FPS. But the ones that don't care about the FPS are the ones that are crying about people cheating. Why? Because somebody's got a faster system than you? Let me give you another example. on Second Life, or, well, a game called Otherverse, what the deal was is this. You have a lot of people connecting onto their system with different speeds of the computer. So, the latency is going to make it higher for everybody with the person with the slowest computer. Is because they're moving slower, causing latency in the area that you're residing in, the land. So, the more people with the slowest computer going onto that piece of land, the more latency everybody's going to be feeling because of that person. And it's the same thing with the competitive shooting game, because it's on the same plane. So the persons that with their laggy computers are going to be the ones that are pulling down the system and making the system run harder and make everybody's latency go up because they don't have a fast computer. They got a slow one. So they're going to increase the latency more in the game. And being a fast-paced shooters, they don't like that. So there's kind of a catch-22 to this whole situation. It's something developers haven't balanced out yet with people with older PCs compared to the people with newer PCs. Is because they throw everybody into the same bag of soup. It costs them too much money to individualize the groups into different matters of state. You got different matters of state when it comes to the way your PC runs. Now, they tell you the minimal system requirements that you can run the game, and they tell you that everything else is from that point to max, but they don't break everything down into similar realms to where it breaks away all the people with the different chipsets that they're running to play those games. They don't break down the different people for the different grades. Like entry level, mid grade, and high end. If they did that, then I think people wouldn't cheat, because the latency would change. It would be different. You know that machine? The latency would change. So putting the high end crowd in one section, at their PCs running tip top, that's one thing. The mid-grade crowd, to where it's running mediocre but running really good, that's another realm. The low-end PC game players are the ones that got the most latency. They're stuck into another realm. So you got 3 different realms to this whole thing. If you break it down into 3 different realms, then there would be less cheating and people would be more happy. But they have to cheat because of the latency. That's what makes them cheat, is because there's so much latency on the game, they have to find a cutting edge to the latency. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you just like a higher seating position. Oh, okay. So it comes down to the end of the day, the latency is the problem. It's not people cheating. People wouldn't cheat if the latency was low. If they found a way to make latency low for all, like Arc Raiders, then you would have less people cheating. But what they found is that they opened up this Pandora's box. These itch on my foot. these game developers opened this Pandora's box, and now they're trying to put anti-cheat to close it. They're the ones that created this shit, and now they're trying to close it. Nobody sees that. They created this Pandora's box. They created this. They opened it. And now they're trying to close it because they're in fear of losing money. That makes sense to you, Machine? So, it's not the players that created it. It's the game developers that created this mess. And now they're trying to close it with the anti-cheat to make it look like they're doing something, to make it look like the game's more secure, and trying to make it look to the player to appeal to the base of the play, to appeal to their base. That's what they're trying to do. It's not working. You open up the Pandora box and you're trying to close it, not working. You should have had this Pandora box closed before people started playing the game. When you start a new game, you should have had the Pandora's box already locked before they started playing the game. But they played the game and now you're trying to lock up the box when you left it wide open. Is this starting to make sense, Machine?
Mm-hmm.
They created this mess with the games, and now they're trying to lock it away from everybody. What does that make them look like? Hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones that left it open. They left the Pandora's box open. So now they're looking like hypocrites because they're going and locking it up and doing all this stuff. They're cutting their own fucking money. They're cutting their own money.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it to themselves. They should have had that box locked before you even presented the game to the community. They should have had this shit locked up beforehand. But now, look at what happened. Here's the output. You're getting a lot of community backlash. You didn't think it out before you started. You obviously thought that the dollar sign meant more than anything. And now you're trying to kick the ones that pay the most money. You're trying to kick them in the teeth and tell them to go fuck themselves. We're going to lock it up on you. When you left the box open. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That don't make shit sense to me, brother. They're the ones that left this box open, so they should be the one that flips the bill. They should be the one that eats the cost. Because they're the ones that left it open. The community didn't leave it open. They're the ones paying for this. And now you're trying to tell everybody, well, if you're cheating, we're going to take it away from you, and we're not going to reimburse you because we feel you're cheating. What if you're not? How many times have we heard this? How many times have we heard this story of people not cheating?
Mm-hmm.
How many times? And then they wrongfully getting false positives of cheating? Continuously false positives? If your game is that damn good, then you would have had the Pandora's box locked before everybody started to play it, and this anti-cheat shit would never be happening because nobody would know a workaround because you have everything locked. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They should have had this shit locked before anybody downloaded, man. That is a game developer's problem. They think that they can make more money by having less. How can I say this? Having less permissive boundaries on your game when PC to PC connects opens up the door for people to cheat. So if you want the cheating to stop, then you need to put that implemented into the game before they start downloading it. And they should have, before they start downloading it, now they consent. You need a consent before they can download and put the game in. That they understand the rules and the regulations. That they've read everything. That they understand everything. Like you're supposed to. Now, if the game doesn't give you the consent, or you approve the consent, and you put this anti-cheat shit on, guess what you're doing? You're actually creating a problem with people in the United States and their freedom of what? Their rights?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you first started the game, you didn't have a consent form. And it was free and open to the public. And now you want to put anti-cheat on it? You're constraining the rights of the American population. And by taking away their rights after the fact of them starting up the game when you first launched it and didn't have this, you're actually creating a lawsuit waiting to happen. It's going to be a lawsuit waiting to happen. Because when they first launched the game, they didn't have the anti-cheat on the game. So they opened up this Pandora's box by not implementing the anti-cheat before people downloaded the game. And people that spent hard-earned money on this game, and you flag them for a false positive, and take that away from them, and then when they take you to court and you lose, you're going to lose millions because of your stupid anti-cheat. Look, if people can't be grown-ups and stop the cheating shit, then they don't need to play the game. That's understandable. But you can't take their rights away from them after the fact that you allowed this up to this point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you see where this is going, right? These companies are making a big mistake. And they're not really companies, they're just game developers. They're not really companies. They can say, oh yeah, we got a company name and this and that. But yeah, do you really? Is that just a storefront for you to collect the taxpayer money because you're underwhelmed and you're not making enough money? So when a company loses money, they look at the government saying, give me the bonus of the incentives of taking care of the money that I lost. So basically, if you lose a certain amount per year, the U.S. government makes that up into subsidies. And they send you the money back. So you're not losing anything. So the taxpayers are the ones paying you, as well as you're putting anti-cheat on them and making it harder for them to play the game. And you're prying into their system. They're paying you to pry into their system. Do you see where this is going, Machine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You didn't know that, did you?
Well, I kind of figured it.
Yeah, the U.S.
You have
government...
permission to do it.
Well, the U.S. government gives them subsidies back to make up for the money that they lost through the year. So basically, that's taxpayer money. So they're making that money back 10 times fold. They're not losing anything. But now that's given them the permission to take and kick you off of the game because they think you're cheating. And you get a false positive and you're not cheating and it's a false positive. Guess what happens? You get sued. Because what the person's going to do is they're going to have an IT tech go through their system and do a report for the judge stating if they're cheating or not. You know. And once that's said and done, they take this company to court. Guess what happens? You can't fake what's not there. And if you're having major false positives, then your anti-cheat sucks. And you need to fix it. That means it's on your end, not the people's PCs, and you don't need to be sticking your nose underneath people's tents. Especially their PC having personal information on there. You're invading their personal rights with these anti-cheats. You could be sued for this. And then you'll end up having no other choice but to remove the anti-cheat is because of what it's doing. The algorithm's doing. Is prying into people's personal lives. So it's going to come ahead that they're going to get sued and all this is going to come out and we're going to watch it. We're just going to be spectators and we're going to have our popcorn and our sodas like usual. And we're going to sit back and watch it all unfold. Because guarantee that the government's going to step in. Guarantee these developers are going to have a hard way to go. And they're going to have to change their plans. Because they're screwing in people's lives, which they should not be. Now, if they're telling me that, oh, they're only doing it for the cheaters. Well, then how do you know they're a cheater? If it's a false positive, how do you know they're a cheater? You see where I'm going with this? It's common sense. I mean, and for all that do watch my video stream after we get done with it, because I know many people watch it afterwards, understand this. These companies, well, they're not really companies, they're game developers, but what they have to understand is that, you know, there are people that don't cheat and there are people that do cheat. Until they can prove to the community that they have a way to see this, then that's a different story. But if that's on infringing on your rights in the United States or any other country, infringing on your rights in order for you to be able to play their game, you need to infringe your own rights. Not going to happen. Not with me, not with Mr. Machine. We're not going to go down this road. I'm sure that most of my community is going to say the same thing. They're not going to go down this road. So, for you to infringe on people's rights, that's one thing. If you're going to sell a game, you sell that right to the game, to the community. To everyone that buys it, you sell that right, that license to them. And that license permits them to do whatever they want on the game. And you can't stop that. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop that. And there's the truth. You can't. I can't. If I build a game, I'm not going to stop some people just because they want to cheat. It's like if you buy a Game Boy there, Mr. Machine, and you found a way to cheat it. Okay. Who's to know? Who's to know you're cheating that game? You're the one playing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a competitive thing for the multiplayer, not the single player.
Unless they admit it on live television, that's the only way you can know they're cheating. By law.
Well, unless they give up their cheats while they're playing. That's happened before.
Yeah. I mean, if you put that out into the community, this is how you cheat, then yeah.
People have seen their programs running. Like, they minimize the screen and they see the anti-cheat program running in the background. They get called out for that.
Yeah, well, the thing is this, if they see that, then these game developers can say, okay, well, we got you pinpointed. Now we're going to block you. That they can do. Because they have video proof. They have physical proof. But for the people that they don't have physical proof for, there's nothing but false positives. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason why people have many computers with one account. They have many computers with one account. Because every computer has its own signature in the cloud for Steam. If you didn't know that there, Mr. Machine.
I do now.
Every computer that you run your program on has its own purpose in the cloud, but can still share your game information. So basically, you can go from computer to computer to computer, playing the same game, and cheat all you want without them even knowing it, because they see you playing the same game. Does that make them actual cheaters because they got 5 different computers and they play on five different areas of the house all through the day? Does that actually make them cheaters? You see where I'm going with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stupid thing they did was they left the Pandora's box open for how long?
Forever.
Yeah.
They're just now dealing with most of it this year and last year.
Yeah. They've had anti-cheat on for the last 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
5 years. And they're just now implementing the rules after the game's been out for quite a few years?
Mm-hmm.
You got some games that are back in 2019, 2012. You're going to implement anti-cheat on those? How come you didn't put it back then? That's what the community is going to be saying. How come you didn't put anti-cheat back then? What the hell? Are you just pinpointing people out? Or you're butthurt because your game fell prey to the people that want to cheat? Maybe because you didn't, as a developer, do your job. And you got paid to do your job, but you still didn't do the rest of the job. You did the job 50%, but you didn't finish the job. Now, not all developers do this. The ones that actually do the games right, I do praise to them, because that way there's less problems compared to the ones that are doing this on purpose and making themselves look good by trying to implement it, but they're making themselves look bad is because they didn't implement it in the beginning. And they didn't keep the Pandora's box closed. You see now what's going on, Machine?
Mm-hmm.
This is the way the community is going to start looking at it. And they're going to look at the fact that they didn't close the box before they had the first download. So that's their fault. And now they want to infringe on people's rights to play the game, which they paid for. Believe it or not, when you sell the license to somebody, you can't. The original license is where it starts. Now, if you change the provisions of those licenses, that's a different story, but still, the main provision of the license still remains. And you can't change that permission because you're the one that wrote it. That first initial licensing, that's where it starts. Now, the provisioning over time, that's a different story. But people do not have to follow the provisioning of that the licensing, because that's not when you first started it. That's not what the first license said. The provisions are different from the actual license. That's where the developers are getting this shit all wrong. Okay? And this has already been through court. They've already said that this is wrong because the first provisioning is the first signing of the license. And you have all the rules in the license for that game. So your first onset of the license is what the courts find. Not the provisioning, because the provisioning is what you changed over time. But it doesn't change the fact of the license. Court of law will tell you that. It doesn't change the fact of the license. All the provisioning does is infringe on people's rights. That's what the provisioning does. It infringes on your rights more and more. They take and give you the whole ball of wax, and then they start taking pieces away with the provisioning. They start taking piece, and then you get to the point where you don't have any more rights. All that money you paid to play that game wasn't worth shit. Now, how's that make sense to you there, Mr. Machine?
Well, I don't have to worry about it because I'm not going to get in those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but this is what the world's going through, and this is what's happening. I mean, this is the real deal. People don't talk about this is because they're afraid to. They're afraid that, oh yeah, these developers are going to sue you because of this and that. No, they can't sue me. I don't play their fucking game. They don't sue me. I don't have a stake in their claim. But when my viewers have a stake in their claim and they want me to talk about it, I have all the free fair use I want, and you can't do nothing about it. You can take me to court, you can do whatever, but you can't do nothing about it because it's my mouth, it's my community, and it's free fair use by the rules of YouTube. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there it is. But I took out all games that have any anti-cheat whatsoever that would affect my system. I took them all out. I mean, I went into my system. I went in deep to my system to where you can't, where some people can't reach. Plus, I've got a couple programs I can use that I can't tell you guys about because they're sacred programs that have been around for years, that I can go deep, all the way through my whole computer, including the BIOS and the motherboard. And if there's anything that's wrong in there, I can rip that shit out. They do make programs like that, but they're just very, very, very dark web programs. These are programs that have been created years ago by good friends, good IT techs that know their shiz. And they kind of give me a little sample of the programs. So, you see how that works there, Machine?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get these little deep divers that go in and really can weed out all the garbage of your system, so you can pull it all out if you want to. But I've only used that program one time. And that was recently, not too long ago, because of Epic Games. I had to make sure I pulled everything out of Epic Games. Everything that was in my system. Everything. It had to go. So, now I have nothing of Epic Games in my system. Nothing. And I check and make sure any games that Epic makes, I don't play. For the simple fact, you wrote something into your rules, your provisioning of your rules, that I don't like. And it's called, they have access to your personal information, they have access to your banking information, they have access to everything of your information of your PC. That means they can bust into your BIOS. They can see everything you're doing on your computer. Just like Microsoft Recall. So that's why everybody's bitching about Microsoft Recall to be a bad thing. Is it would give game developers more access to your shiz and see everything you're doing frame by frame. You understand now, Machine?
Yep.
Now you know why everybody's bitching about the Microsoft Recall. It goes a little bit deeper than people want to talk about. See, I'm not here to blow smoke up people's asses. I'm here to tell you the truth. And if you don't want to hear the truth, then go play on somebody else's channel. Because I'm not here to play games. Well, I'm here to play games, but, playing games on the PC. Not playing mind games with people. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to keep it real. You know what I mean, Machine?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to blow smoke up people's asses. When I see something wrong, I dig deep into that problem and find out why it's costing so much, why it's going to be a bad thing on the community. It's just, I take that, what people are talking about, and I dig deeper than anybody else to go to the heart of the matter and find out the truth. And I come and report it back to you guys. It's like with the Ramageddon. I thought Ramageddon was a pretty good fit for the name of them raising the prices of the system RAM and the video RAM. Well, the video RAM, they really didn't raise the prices of, Mr. Machine.
Yep.
It was the system RAM. Why? You wonder why they raised the system RAM, didn't you?
I think it's dumb, no matter what the reason is.
No, I want you to think hard about this. Remember, we talked about this a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Video RAM is going to be different from system RAM. System RAM, coupled with your CPU, controls your FPS. That's where your FPS starts. Now, where your FPS ends is on your video RAM, is because it computates the textures. And the more textures it has to computate, it starts dropping the FPS from your system. It starts pulling more from your system, so it starts dropping the FPS. One creates it, and the other one takes from it. Your graphics card takes from your FPS and lowers it for the textures. Now, your CPU and your system RAM are the ones that put out the FPS. See, this is what people don't like talking about. And you know how I know this? I've tested this. I put on Heaven Benchmark. I went over there to OCCT, downloaded the program, and then went into the memory section and put it to 100% usage. And I watched my FPS on this system right here go from 500 FPS all the way down to 5 FPS. But here's the good thing I did with the 9700X. It went from 600 FPS down to 45. And that's something, machine. So my 5700X went down to 5.
Okay.
The 9700X went down to 45. So there's a 40 FPS difference between the two. See where that's going?
Mm-hmm.
The processor here and the processor over here, 40% difference. Now do you see where I got the percentage?
Mm-hmm.
40% difference between the two. Ain't that some shiz? But see, these are the things people don't talk about. They don't talk about where you get your percentage on your CPUs. Well, I know I got a 40% difference between the 5700X and the 9700X. I don't care what benchmarks are out there or anything else. I know the benchmark I did on my system, this is what it tells me. Between this one here and over here, the 9700X. So the 5700X, 9700X, there's a big difference of 40%. Isn't that right? It was like 1% for every 1 FPS?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's how I consider it. You know. But to me, that's what I consider a big drop. So, this one can go up. This has got 64 gigs of RAM. The DDR4 system. Running 4 sticks, undervolted. I can drop it down to 5 FPS. On Heaven Benchmark, but it does not artifact or stutter. The same with the 9700X. Did the same test. And got a drop all the way down to 45 FPS on the 9700X. By using up 100%, including the operating system, 100% of the memory. Leaving nothing left behind. So, that told me which system was better when it comes to FPS. And I know the 9700X is way better than the 5700X. You see my difference, machine?
Mm-hmm.
So just to let you know that where that's swinging. Now, if I had a direct memory access leak on my motherboard, I would blue screen like a bitch. I mean, every time I start my computer, it would blue screen because if there's a problem in the direct memory access, 9 out of 10 chances when you go to put a load onto the system, usually in the beginning, Windows startup, the load is on the system. That's when you start blue screening because of the direct memory access. Same thing happened on Windows 95. They didn't have enough direct memory access, and when you have startup programs that start up in the background, that puts a way big load on the system and uses up all the direct memory access, and guess what happens? Blue screen, because there's no more access points. That's the reason why Microsoft had to come up with more access points, is because they couldn't get the memory balance between Windows 95 and Windows 98. Now, when they started going up towards Windows 7, they kind of sort of got there, but they still had the same problem. So when they went to Windows 10, from Windows 8 to 8.1, which 8.1 was supposed to be Windows 9, but they didn't do that. So they went from Windows 8 to Windows 8.1 to Windows 10. Then they improved on the direct memory access, and actually they had less problems because they didn't run out of registers, because they widened the amount of registers that they had on there. So now, here comes another problem. AI. That becomes the new problem that's being put onto our PCs. And now Microsoft wants to put AI agents that link to Copilot that control our PCs, and we don't. MSI motherboard already has that program to where it balances and controls your motherboard and everything that's connected to it through their AI provisioning program, which we already know about. I use that right now, and I haven't had a problem with MSI and their program keeping my computer running good. So, what do you think, Machine?
Nah, all I know is I'm not going to download that stuff onto my computer, so.
Right, I do it for testing, man.
Yep.
And so far I haven't seen anything wrong. But when it comes to Copilot, I'm going to tell you like this. It's good to have it on my phone and to see what its uses are for, then compared to have it controlling your PC and causing a lot of bad telemetry and everything else. I would prefer not to have it running on the PC. On a cell phone, that's different, but a PC, it's bad news for being a gamer. Truth in the matter, it's bad news for a gamer. But for a content creator, it might not be so bad, but for gaming, it might be a little bad. But there's a but to it. I do both. I do content creating and I do gaming. All on my same PC. So for me to see a difference in FPS of turning that program on and off, 1% so far that I've seen. 1%. So, but that 1% could mean 50% somewhere else. You don't know and I don't know. It all depends on what it's connecting to. What your DLLs are associating with. What are they connecting to? See, you got to remember, it's like your DLL files in your computer are like rabid wolves. They're fighting for the dominance of your PC. They're fighting for the dominance of your kernel. So, it all depends. Doesn't matter to me much because I have all of them playing nicely because it's nice and balanced. And that's just the way it is. I don't want to have programs fighting for dominance in my PC. That lowers the FPS. That causes many programs that are running in the wild, which I try to turn off as many as I can so I don't have it running in the background. See, you got some programs that start up automatically, some that you can turn to manual. When it comes to your antivirus software in your services, do not touch it. It's there for your protection. And if you don't, you turn it off, then you have no protection. That'll be your fault, not mine. So don't blame me for it. But I can tell you, for my protection, my system is secure. Period. And that's the reason why I can have no problems on my PC, is because I do not accept emails on my PC. See, here's that trick. Because those emails will build up into the background and they'll sit in the temporary files until they're wiped out. But there are stubborn ones that don't like to be wiped out, and they remain there and they just sit accumulating. And they start eating up more and more of that memory. You'll start losing FPS and you'll be like, oh my God, how am I losing all this FPS? And then you got to flush all your all the background tasks and all the stuff that it accumulated in the background for storage on your memory chips. So you got to flush it all out, like your L cache. You got to flush out your system cache. You know, all the cache that's on your system. Period. And then when you do that, you run into a new hiccup. It's called it starts you all over on your games, because you just wiped out all the provisioning and all the saved games that you had, because they lock it up into what, Mr. Machine? The cache?
I don't know.
The L cache. They lock it into the L cache.
Oh.
They lock the access to the saved games from your hard drive to your L cache.
Okay.
That's how they do it. So, as long as you're using up part of your L cache for the games, it minimizes your chances to get faster speeds, because some of that provisioning locks out part of your L cache. So having 104 or 144 megabytes of L cache means that 100 megabytes of L cache is already used, and you only get left is the 44. That's a little bit faster than the 36 that are on most modern X chips. So, you really get just very minimal megabytes to make a little bit of difference on your games. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's been fun, it's been great, and it's been everything, been around the sun with you guys tonight. I know we're just going off the cuff, but there's some things during the week that happen that we don't get to, that we want to get to, that we want to talk about. You know, that's what happens at the end of the week. And we are at the end of the week. So we are talking about what happened all through the week. And if we didn't get to it, we will the next time. So be patient. We will get to it sooner or later. But we want to let the stories unfold even more, because it makes it even more juicy when it comes to next week, when it comes to the end of the week. What happened in the previous week to the end of the next week. So, do be patient. We got more to come. But we are at the end of the live stream. And we want to thank everybody here for showing up tonight. And if you're watching us on instant replay, we do appreciate you too. But we also want you to make sure that if you're enjoying our videos here, to hit the subscribe button. Mr. Machine, you got anything you want to tell everybody before we go?
Nope. I'm good.
Like him, I'm good too. So if this is your first time here and you do enjoy the videos, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when we post the next videos. Until the next time. Oh, and before we go, Dr. Blitz, thank you for the donation to the channel. We do appreciate you. And we're going to thank you again for that. But until the next time, in the next video, you know it is. And we'll see you on the next video or live stream.